Hey guys, so part 2 of my visit to Bungie involved learning about the changes to the subclasses. Now I gave you guys a breakdown of the subclasses back at E3, but there were quite a few changes made. Shocking, I know. So let's figure out what is different, starting with the Titan. Keep in mind that not even these can be considered final versions. There could be more changes coming, but these are the latest public updates. The Titan actually had the fewest changes to their subclass. So grenades, there were no changes, except Match Grenade got its name changed to Thermite Grenade, but that's it. Movement modes, there was no change. Under Hammer of Soul, High Noon has been renamed to Forge Master and basically got rid of the modifier where if you had high health, you could throw more hammers. Now, with Forge Master, you throw more hammers and cause bigger explosions without any requirements. Sun Charge is still the same thing, and Scorched Earth used to be called Conflagration, but it still does the same thing. In the melee tree, Melting Point is the same, Fulminator got its name changed to Thermal Vent, but it still does the same thing, and Stoke the Forge is also the same, along with the stat columns. Flameseeker used to be in the second column, but now it's in the first, but it still does the same thing. Wildfire is now called Explosive Pyre and was also moved from the second column into the first, but basically does the same thing. Fleetfire is also the same thing, it just got moved down 2 positions in the column. Simmering Flames used to be called Tempering, and it used to be in the first column. It is now a little more defined, where if your super is charged, your grenade and melee recharge twice as fast. Cauterize is the same thing. Firekeeper used to be called Wreathed in Flames and was in the first column, but still has the same effect. Warlock's got some minor changes as well. In the grenade slot, Pulse Grenade is still there and is in the first position now. Deluge Grenade got its name changed to Storm Grenade, and Lightning Grenade has been replaced by Arc Bolt Grenade. The movement modes are all the same. In the super column, everything is the same except for Electric Glide's name, which got changed to Ionic Blink, which still does the same thing. I didn't like that change. I liked Electric Glide better. In the melee column, nothing got changed except for Tempestuous got its name changed to Amplitude, but that's it. Stat columns remain the same. In the first passive column, Rain Check has turned into Pulse Wave, where if you are critically wounded, you gain a speed boost for you and your allies. Not sure if there's a range limit on that. Good change. Rain Check was pretty bad. Uninsulated has been changed to Feedback, where incoming melee attacks fully recharge and intensify your Thunderstrike, aka your melee. Sounds pretty good. Inclement Weather has moved to the second column, and Transcendence takes its place. Transcendence used to be called Wellspring, which is now in the first column, but the ability itself is still the same as Wellspring. In the second column, Gathering Storm is now called Electrostatic Mind, but does the same thing. Greased Lightning is now called Arcweb, does the same thing. Inclement Weather is now in the second column and is now called Perpetual Charge, but does the same thing. Hunters probably got the most changes. Grenades remain the same, except Slash Grenade is now called Void Wall Grenade. Movement is the same. I think I said in the last video that hunters get double jump as opposed to higher jump. Yeah, it's higher jump. Otherwise, no changes. In the super column, Inextricable is now called Bloodbound, where in addition to having tethered targets share the damage they receive by you and your team, those targets will explode when they are killed. Black Hole has replaced Wait For It, where your Shadow Shot tethers now last longer, has a bigger radius, and can tether more enemies. Quiver has replaced Gloam Ranger, where you can fire Shadow Shot up to 3 times, but your tethers have reduced range. Rapid Shot, which was previously in the second passive column, which gave you bonus shots, is now basically the Quiver talent. In the melee column, Smog is gone and Envenomed moved up 1 slot. Replacing Smog is Vanish in Smoke, where if you throw your smoke grenade at your fireteam members or yourself, anyone hit with the grenade will go invisible for a short time. You probably saw this happen in the Strike gameplay that I uploaded. It's very, very fun. Snare remains the same, along with the stat columns. In the first passive column, Uncanny Archer is now called Courage of the Pack, with a little bit of a clearer definition. Killing tethered targets increases armor and recovery for you and your team, stacking up to 5 times. Shadow Trapper is now Light of the Pack, where killing tethered targets creates orbs of light for your team. and Well Provisioned is now locked down, where grenade and smoke effects last twice as long. In the second passive column, Keen Scout now also gets you to sprint faster. Rapid Shot has been replaced by Predator, where Void Anchors from Shadow Shot become traps that stick to surfaces and wait for enemies. Shade Step remains the same. So those were all the changes from E3 until now. Like I said, there might even be more changes coming with the actual release of the Taken King, we just don't know yet. I really liked a few things, but my favorite is easily Melting Point on the Sunbreaker Titan. Being able to actually go melee bosses and high priority targets and just have them literally melt in front of you is really satisfying and is a great tool. Is it as good as something like Ward of Dawn? Probably not, but Melting Point is part of a melee attack and Ward of Dawn is a full super. That, and if you want to go with a max strength build and get Simmering Flames to double the rate at which your melee comes back, well, you're going to be punching a lot. What's going to take some really getting used to is actually using that melee in an intelligent way. With other melees, they've never really been important enough to care about how you use them, you just kind of punched at random. With Melting Point, you don't really want to waste it on Thrall or something like that, so you need to be smarter about your usage if you're using Melting Point. Then you have the super itself, Hammer of Soul. If you caught Mr. Fruit on the stream, he tried out a Sunspot build, which worked a little bit better than when I tried it, but it didn't feel like you threw that many more hammers, maybe about 5 to 6 total, maybe 7. However, the damage over time for single target damage really piles up, as you can see on the Goliath tank. It's just that, well, many enemies are pretty mobile, so I don't know how often you're going to be seeing the full potential of a Sunspot build in action. I want it to succeed, and so I do want to do way more testing and playing with it to see if I can turn it into something super awesome, but with a lot of consistency. Next up, Bloodbound is a PvE game changer in my opinion. I don't think there's going to be any reason to use anything other than Bloodbound in PvE. Damage is shared, but when they say damage is shared, they don't mean damage is split among the targets bound. They mean that if you shoot a bound target, all targets will take full damage of the target that you are shooting. So a lot of people used to ask me, hey, why bother binding all of your targets when you can just blow them up with Nova Bomb? Well, my answer would be Majors. Nova Bomb is pretty bad against major targets. Bloodbound shadow shots on a group of majors means you can kill all of those tethered majors with some focus fire or some shotgun shots. Imagine if after Ear Ute, where you need to kill all those majors, that you could just shadow shot all of them, lay a couple of snipes into one of their heads, and kill all of them. That is going to be the power of Bloodbound. Quiver seems very much like a PvP talent, and honestly, the reason Holtzman probably used it for his gameplay is because it looks better in a video to fire off a bunch of shots. But when you're actually in-game and wanting to use Shadow Shot, Bloodbound should be your PvE go-to. Stormcaller right now I think is good, but you're pretty much going to want to save it for lots of small targets as opposed to a few bigger targets. Although it can do some decent single target damage, it just seems like a waste though. Once again, with Melting Point, anything can be awesome. I think for scenarios where there's just an insane amount of enemies, with a chain damage build, you'll be able to just clean house. The problem is that it just felt like you needed to have any extra movement abilities since Storm Trance felt really slow. Catching up to stuff seems like it's going to be important, although I could be basing that off of the fact that I played Shield Brothers and they were just jumping all over the place. Anyway guys, that is what I have for you on the updated subclasses. I'm pretty fine with all the changes that they made to stuff. A lot of abilities actually got buffed and moved around in a way that kind of buffs the subclass, so that's really nice. But that's going to do it for me. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.